1st of October today, so in my eyes, it is officially autumn. I know the 22nd is when it's officially autumn, but October is when it starts to become cozy and cold and get the fluffy socks on, you know? It's just so wholesome. But in my case, with autumn, comes with a few little things. Firstly, illness. Secondly, I tend to revert into eating comfort foods, which in my case sometimes aren't necessarily the healthiest, especially for my gut. And we all know that if you're not eating well, then it can affect how good your immune system is, and therefore if I'm not eating well and my immune system's not doing great, then it doesn't fight off illness as well. So I'd like to start off these colder months with good habits and a healthy gut. Now, I'm no food scientist or nutritionist, but I am quite passionate about the subject. I've been to a few talks on gut health, read a few books, read a few articles, and so I feel like I know enough to try and help my gut throughout this period. And the things I'm going to try and focus on is one, diversity of what I consume. So they say that 30 plants a week is really great to boost your microbiome and the bacteria in your gut. And now 30 plants a week, that seems like quite a daunting idea, but actually if you added it all up, it's quite easy to accomplish because you are talking about fruits, veggies, legumes, nuts and seeds, spices as well count, whole grains. Essentially it's just about diversity and giving your gut enough little things to munch on. Number 2 is fermented goods. I listen quite a lot to the Zoe podcast, which is with Tim Spector, and fermented goods and pickled goods are known to provide fantastic bacteria to our gut to help with the immune system and gut health. So I'm going to try and incorporate quite a lot of that throughout these colder months, and also limit ultra processed foods, which I think for all of us it's just quite challenging because yes, unless you buy whole foods and eat whole foods every single meal, like veggies and fruits, to just not have a packet of crisps now and again, it's just quite difficult. So I'm not going to be super strict on this whole thing, but I am definitely going to try and limit any ultra processed foods to just ensure that my gut is feeling fresh, feeling good, feeling funky, you know? And so today, my friends, you are coming along with me. We're going to make every meal as gut friendly as possible, but not beat ourselves up about it, you know, because what's the point in that? They're going to be fun, flavorful, and fresh and super tasty, of course. So without further ado, let's get into the video. This breakfast is going to be a little bit of a what's in the fridge situation, but as healthy as possible in a gut sense. Now I do know I've got some kimchi in the fridge, which is a fermented good, and fermented goods are fantastic for the gut. So that's a great way to start, I feel, for the morning. I'm trying to then create a breakfast around kimchi that has a little bit of carbs in it, but like a healthier carb or a more diverse carb. So I think what I'm going to do is a kimchi omelette served with rye bread. I feel like this could work. We're kind of going like Danish style. I'm also inspired because last week we went to Copenhagen. If you haven't seen the video, please do go watch it. And the rye bread situation was just incredible. So I actually brought back some rye bread from Denmark. So I'll be having that this morning. So excited for this. So we've got the rye bread here, which I literally bought from the Danish supermarket. So I tried to buy the best one I could. It's not fresh, but it'll do. Then we got some lovely blueberries here. I have this theory that if I keep eating blueberries, like have a handful of blueberries every single day, I don't get ill. And then as soon as I don't have blueberries, I get ill. So she has blueberries on her plate. Now, in Copenhagen, we were spoilt with whipped butter, but your gal doesn't have time for that today. So, la packet is. My favourite is President butter. This will do today. I've also never had a kimchi omelette before, so I'm quite intrigued. Bloobs. Okay. I don't know about you, but I go through cycles of loving different types of eggs. So for example, recently, 100% it's been soft boiled eggs. Like I have had soft boiled eggs for breakfast maybe 5 out of the 7 mornings. And I haven't had an omelette for a while, so I thought why not? Now I need to remind myself to eat slowly. It's good that you're here because I'm talking. So we've got 2 types of kimchi in here, the radish kimchi and the napa cabbage kimchi. And I'm really loving the variety in crunch and texture. Now, obviously I love bibigo kimchi or any other kimchi that you can find at your local Asian supermarket. But any other kind of pickled or fermented good would work. Like if you wanted to use sauerkraut or pickled beetroots or a kind of piccalilli kind of thing, anything fermented or pickled would go so well in this. Now I need to get on with some work, so I will see you at lunchtime. Now with the weather getting colder, I always fancy something soupy, something nourishing, something slurpy. So for lunch, for lunchy poos, I'm thinking of doing kind of like a brothy rice bowl. So for the main flavour base, we're going to use miso, which is another fermented good from Japan. It's a fantastically salty, full of umami kind of seasoning to add to our broth, which I'm actually not going to use store-bought broth or anything like that. I'm literally just going to make it using onions, garlic, ginger and mushrooms. Now I love reading about condiments and fermented goods. I have a couple of books that I absolutely love. One is Ferment by Kimchi and one is the condiment book by Claire. I should say their surnames. Kenji Morimoto and Claire Dinha. I also have read the gut health book by Emily Leeming, which is also super, super interesting. I've actually just lent it to my mum. Now with our rice dish, I'm actually gonna go for brown basmati rice instead of white basmati rice, because the brown basmati rice keeps the bran and the germ layers, so basically has like the outside of the rice still intact rather than stripping that away. So not only does that make it more fibrous, which is good for the gut, it also takes longer to digest, which means that you just have less of a glucose spike, which is just better for you in general. So that's one thing I'm trying to do. This autumnal season is, instead of buying white carbs, I'm trying to buy the brown or multi-grain carbs because they're more diverse in their ingredient list and also better for you. I'm also going to serve this rice bowl with tofu that I'm going to cook in the air fryer to make it a little bit crispy, and then top it with some greens. It should be warming, it should be comforting, it should be wholesome. Ingredient tip, I always keep my ginger in the freezer. I'll buy a big bag of ginger, whack it in the freezer, and then you can just break off knobs of ginger and finally grate it into your dishes. I find that ginger goes off quite quickly, but it freezes super well. So I got gifted these hoken bowls, which are super fun. They stack on top of each other, which I just think is so cute. So I think I'm gonna have my soupy, ricey concoction in one of these. Actually, I've decided that the green just wasn't gonna necessarily work, and also the bowls are great, but they are not fantastic for like demonstrating the separate kind of grains from the sauce, from the toppings, etc. So we're going for a classic white bowl instead. Let's assemble. Okay people, let's give it a go, shall we? Oh yeah. Oh, the freshness from the coriander, so good. It's like lovely and creamy from the coconut, but also light and full of flavour from the miso and the mushrooms. It's like an umami party. Good evening. Time to make dinner. One thing that I'm really trying to do, which I think makes such a big difference for sleep and just general health, is trying to reduce my carb intake or just how much I eat in the evening. Because I always find that if I eat way too much in the evening, then I just don't sleep very well. So what we've kind of started doing, which I'm loving at the moment, is making different types of varieties of chopped salads. Now with a chopped salad, you have lots of different textures, lots of different flavors, lots of different ingredients that you can kind of have a base set of ingredients that you use that have different types of varieties of those ingredients. Does that make sense? So for example, let's say that in this salad, we need a legume of some sort, a crunchy element or two crunchy elements of some sort, a lettuce of some sort, and then a dressing, and then a protein, meat protein if need be. So for the legume, you can then go for butter beans, chickpeas, lentils, cannellini beans, kidney beans. For the leaf, you can go for gem lettuce or rocket or spinach or kale. So you basically kind of have each category, and then you can choose an ingredient or a product from those categories, bunch them together, and then make a dressing based on the flavour that you want that evening. So for example, this evening, I am craving something creamy feta-y harissa. I love harissa paste. It's a North African chili paste, and it is really delicious. Now, usually I would try and get a harissa paste from a North African shop, or I would get the Balazo harissa paste, rose harissa paste. It's really, really delicious, but sadly, I couldn't find it anywhere today. So I've got my local supermarket's regular harissa paste, which is fine, but the flavour ain't there. So I'm not expecting wildness from a flavour perspective, but it should still taste good and should give that kind of lovely spicy kick and smoky flavour that we're looking for. What happens is you make the salad, not only does it fill you up to a great level, but then you just don't feel bloated and like overly full before you go to bed, but also it's a fantastic meal prep option for the next day. Rightio, we're gonna taste it for a little taste test. Should be delicious. And then I'm gonna put the lettuce leaves on the base of our plate or bowl, and then top it with this gorgeous harissa chickpea chicken tomato feta. I'm literally drooling. Oh yeah. This is exactly what I fancy. And I think what's so nice is like, what's great about these salads is that they always like, I feel satiated afterwards. I feel like I've eaten a meal. They're like, I eat slower because there are multiple different textures and crunchy flavors, and oh, every bite is just a bit different. We've got like the chickpeas and the chicken and the parsley and the lettuce. Cheers. I fancy a sweet treat. And usually I would, for a sweet treat that's healthy, I would usually go for yogurts with a little bit of fruit and some nuts. But fancying something more than that, a couple of weeks ago I made these insane cookies. And whatever I do when I'm making like a bake, do is I'll put it in the freezer. So I made these cookies and I put them in the freezer. So we're just gonna heat some up and then eat one with some blueberries. It's all about balance, and they're homemade, so not ultra processed. So that's great. I'm so excited.
Won't eat one each, but